Target 12 is beefing up.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
And I got to tell you, if you haven't seen it, it might be the world's best television promo ever. In fact, it makes me want to go, yeah, journalism, yeah, let's go. Sorry, are really good? Tim and Ted are here, and they're going to talk about a renewed charge on the Target 12 investigative team. Broadcast journalism is weaker and weaker and weaker across this country and in local places. And thankfully here, and it's not just because I get a paycheck. I can tell you, if I thought, I'd say, I'm not shy about introspection, so to speak. But the investigative journalism that comes out of this building is phenomenal, and now there's a renewed effort to expand it and brand it, and I think that's kind of important for a whole bunch of reasons. We'll talk about that with my guests coming up. It is important also to get some of their thoughts on some of the contemporary issues of the day. In the meantime, let us dig in. So, with no further ado, we start with His Honor, right? So Bette Midler messed up, thought she had, Trump nailed on the 90s quote where he kind of went after Republicans, ridiculed them, and said, bad things about Fox News. Turned out she had bad information, and she apologized for it, right? Now, listen, she's no Trump fan. She jumped the gun, and things like that happen. But, of course, you cannot make a mistake with this guy. Here's the tweet. He refers to her as a washed-up psycho. And I just wanted to ask, I know we're so deep into the desensitization of Trump world and the like, but if times were normal, and the President of the United States, went to London, said what he said about the London mayor, blows up the dignified experience of dining with the Queen and starts digging in and calling the mayor of London a loser on Twitter, this kind of stuff, washed up psycho. In normal times, wouldn't everybody kind of look at each other and say, he needs a review from someone who's professional? But nobody wants to touch this third rail. I guess no one's ever going to touch this third rail. But I do believe that all of this House investigative stuff and the slow play now, I was wrong last week, and I said that Nancy Pelosi was making a mistake. I think Nancy Pelosi is actually driving him crazy. And I think he will go over the edge, and I think it will affect the electorate in 2020. I do not see him being removed from office. I think she's going to slow play this thing until he goes nuts. I thought he got there 2 years ago, but that's just me. All right, moving on. Is it okay to say what I'm going to say? I don't know. You tell me. Headline here: this officer choked. Okay. He retreated. He stood his ground. He did not enter the Parkland High School when the protocols called for him to do so. One of the victim's dads obviously has his own understandable perspective.
He took a defensive position behind a cement pillar and stayed there for 48 minutes, even while other law enforcement responded and went in the building to try to do whatever they could. He stood outside. It's inexcusable.
Inexcusable, sure. You going to run him up the river with 11 charges and put him in jail for 20 or 30 years? Is that what we're going to do with something that is, in my uninformed judgment, he choked. He panicked. He didn't seize the moment. It was a life and death situation, and he didn't bring it. And so he goes to jail for that? Have we lost our minds? It's a tragedy. He had a responsibility. He did not meet his responsibility. Get that. Lose his gig, lose his reputation. He'll never get his good name back. And now we're going to run him up the river? Is that what we are now? Think about that. I'll tell you what we are now, though. We are diverse at the libraries. Fall River sticks it out and brings the drag queen in for the story time amidst hundreds who say our taxpayer dollar facilities shouldn't host these kind of events. Bristol kind of choked and quit on it. And then the resurgence of Democrats who are trying to read the tea leaves of politics and sentiment come roaring back and influence the library to put the show back on for June 15th. Clearly, Bishop Tobin had a little bit of momentum in this decision, and all I can ask and pray is that based on this new development, he drops the phone. Bishop, drop the phone. My shepherd, please, please drop the phone. All righty. This is the big news that came out yesterday. Very, very significant, very important story. Mr. Nesi gives you the summary.
We've got to do something.
Governor Gina Raimondo making a decisive intervention in the battle over Rhode Island healthcare, throwing her weight behind a new effort to get hospital groups Lifespan and Care New England to join forces in partnership with Brown University's medical school.
You know, what this could be, if it works, is a thriving, integrated, top-notch medical system with the full integration between Brown and our local hospitals. Something we've talked about for decades and never really realized.
The game of medical musical chairs left Boston giant Partners Healthcare on the sidelines after it spent 2 years trying to bring Care New England into its Brigham and Women's Hospital division. Partners interim CEO saying today, in order to give this effort the best possible chance for success and to provide maximum flexibility to the governor and the leadership of these three institutions, we will be withdrawing our application to acquire CNE. The stakes are high. Lifespan and Care New England employ tens of thousands of people in Rhode Island and provide care to hundreds of thousands of patients.
I'm focused on the people of Rhode Island who deserve high-quality doctors in their community at a cost that they can afford, and I think this is the right next step.
This is incredible. Tim, Ted. Tim, you've interviewed Dr. Babin. I mean, this is not your assignment this week, but certainly,
Right.
certainly you've got plenty of thoughts on this. This has been your beat. You and I had a great conversation on the radio about this yesterday. I was able to speak to Dr. Finale, the CEO of Care New England, who's diplomatically turned down a chance to come here based on some developments, I think, that occurred today. You're reporting on some things today.
Yeah, so as I reported, people just heard in that story, the governor, this was like a decisive move by her to blow up the deal for Partners, Brigham and Women's, to take over Care New England and restart the long-running discussion about whether to put Lifespan and Care New England together. And she, I think one thing the governor clearly understands is that with the personalities involved, how badly this has gone before, she needs to knock heads to at least force discussions. I mean, she claims she's not going to force a merger if
And
they
today
say they
they
can't
had
do it.
their first
She brought them together.
all in attendance meeting.
Yep, the head of Dr. Babineau from Lifespan, Dr. Finale, who you talked to from Care New England, the head of Brown, Chris Paxson, all met with the governor to try to kick off a discussion. They're going to talk through the summer. Meanwhile, Partners formally canceled the agreement to join up with Care New England, really, formalizing that they're backing out for now. So this is she's pushed her cards into the middle.
And it's important to note, as in your reporting, she doesn't have any sort of regulatory oversight on any of this. So Governor Raimondo did this just using the power of her position, right? And do you have any thoughts on the timing of it? She could have done this 6 months ago.
Yeah, and I think, and you said that on the radio yesterday, Dan, about where she's been. This Care New England's been in trouble for years now.
It's a better late than never dynamic, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think she, I think the time was ripe. I think there seemed to be more and more concern among elites in the state about whether this was the right move, and people seem to be waking up to what a big decision this was after it was sort of getting not as much attention for a long time. And then I think she just, it's a second term. She won her re-election bid. She's flexing her muscles. I sort of combine it in my head with the big push to try to help the Providence schools. Two huge, long-running issues in Rhode Island that maybe as a second-term governor, she thinks she has more political capital and flexibility to take on.
Yeah, I don't even know if there's a political calculus. Sometimes you just got to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. And it's called leading.
Yeah.
She should have been leading on this months and months and months ago. This thing heated up, and Lifespan spent a bunch of dough they really don't have to create
Big ad campaign.
You bet.
Pushing back
A
on
big
this.
ad campaign. Dr. Finale had to get over it on both the professional and personal level. He thought this was, kind of more than an unsportsmanlike conduct charge against Lifespan for what they would say in their advertising versus what they would say in interviews. In interviews, it was like, oh, we just want to create an awareness, and in their advertising, it was like, all hell's going to break loose, and Rhode Island's going to suffer because of this merger. But I'll be watching your reporting on this. I'll do what I can on this side. This is going to be a really fluid and important process. They have failed on a couple of occasions, and I don't buy this notion that, although I do think the Care New England Lifespan fit like a glove. And of course, you guys have to remember, Lifespan is Rhode Island Hospital, it is Miriam, it's the labs, it's Hasbro. And of course, Women and Infants is Care New England renting space.
Literally, yeah, it's a 99-year lease.
And that deal was complicated and problematic for a closing on this whole thing. You got Bradley, you got Kent. It does. Now, do they become too big to fail? Are there antitrust issues? I mean, those things are still all in play.
Huge questions. And it's just, as you said, Dan, it's just so important. Why have I spent so much reporting time in this last couple of years? Because it is a generational decision for Rhode Islanders what to do. Will there be strong, either multiple or one huge strong hospital, academic medical center in Rhode Island? And yeah, how will it be overseen? Because people may be happy right now with the idea of big bad partners not coming into Rhode Island, but you're going to have a really big bad Lifespan plus Care New England if they join forces. They're going to control upwards of 80% of medical care in the state. Will anyone be powerful enough to rein them in at the state level? That's something people have to think about too. So this is just the opening gun on this conversation.
I'm sure Peter Nerona isn't super sad to have this off his plate for now. With
because
partners pulling the
Timmy, that's a
application.
great point, because when he sat here 2 weeks ago, he was saying, look, at the end of the day, all that I have to do here, I have to stay in my regulatory lane for review. He says, we won't know whether this merger of Care New England and Partners would be satisfactory to the state maybe 10 years down the line. I think the same holds true even for this particular equation. Yeah. So it's one of those things that we're kind of playing it by ear. But good for the governor on this one. You heard me say it. Good for the governor on this one. We need leadership in this state. When we come back, we need investigative journalism. Stay with us. Channel 12, kind of reporting on Channel 12, but listen, branding is important in all businesses, including the television news business. Tell me this promo doesn't get you, though.
The Target 12 investigators. We are a team of investigative journalists. We are truth seekers, storytellers, change makers. We ask tough questions. We don't get intimidated, and we never back down. Every day we make an impact. On the big screen, the small screen, every screen. And now, Target 12 is bigger than ever. More reporters, more investigations, more results for you. Why? Because journalism matters. Honesty matters. The truth matters. And this is our story, our legacy. We are the Target 12 investigators, only on Eyewitness News.
Is your dad's photo always in the cubicle?
I have a couple of his pictures in my office. That's an old photo of him, a headshot from the 1980s, and a little background story on that. When WPRI did that headshot originally, he has a cigarette in his fingers, which you saw in that commercial. Back in the day, they decided to Photoshop the cigarette out because they were afraid it sent the wrong message. But you know what? A lot of reporters smoked back then. Dad smoked a lot of cigarettes, so the cigarette made it back into his headshot. And that's the one that's in my office.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man.
I think I think it was important to have Tim's dad in there because I definitely think a lot about being part of an institution and legacy, and I think, it's important to remind people we didn't wake up yesterday and start doing this, and that we follow in a tradition, quite literally in Tim's case, following in his dad's footsteps. But for all of us, and that's true of the reporters at the Journal and the reporters at Channel 10 and everywhere else.
Did your dad have a brand?
It was Target 12.
It was Target 12.
Yes.
He started it. over the course of time or early on?
Well, I believe they rebranded Target 12, I think, around 1990. He was here in the 1983, 84-ish time frame. So it might not have been Target 12 out of the box, but
well, his
for
name,
the vast majority of his career.
name was enough. His name, his reputation, and his work was enough. The branding thing is, well, it's a, I don't know what to call it necessary evil, but it's a necessary. It's a necessary in the business.
I've learned too in the last few years.
Yeah.
You know, people don't necessarily understand what reporters do, and I've realized our business and how we work and what we're aiming for is not always understood, and it is important for us to get out there and tell our stories. I mean, that's the promotion side of Channel 12, but I believe that more than I did a few years ago.
And that's why we like coming on your show, frankly, on your radio show. You have us on when we have a big report drop, and that gives us an opportunity to talk about the reporting that went into an investigation.
Yeah.
And I think that is important.
Well, I got to tell you, honestly, I'm not gonna be a hypocrite. I have long giggled, sometimes smirked, sometimes screamed over the unnecessary self-promotion that goes on in the business. Having said that, the Target 12 brand and some of the other investigative brands are important for a couple of reasons. One of the things that is neat about the work that you do, when what you do is branded inside the Target 12, there's kind of like an alarm that goes off, which is a necessary alarm, which is like, this is a big one, or this is a dig one. This is not car accidents and simple votes at the city council, or this just in from the State House, or in Washington, the latest. This is a story that needs to be told. So the branding is important, not just for self-promotion, but for identification of the content, correct?
Yeah, I think that is true. You know, we have invested a lot with this announcement today, more in enterprise reporting, enterprise journalism, and I think the Target 12 brand reflects that kind of reporting, and that it stands out. There's a lot of independent work that goes into that.
Yeah, you think of, I mean, I'm not necessarily comparing us to them, but you look at the Boston Globe Spotlight team, which had the movie Spotlight about them, right? Like, putting a name on what you do is to signal viewers, we're investing time, money, resources in this reporting. This did not fall into our inbox in a press release today. We're putting time into this. And so I think you're right, Dan. It's important to, as I said, to try to get that across to people.
And speaking of that, this is a business that has no time. And so when you, I know, are both of you, but certainly Tim, and you're now the managing editor of Target 12,
right.
which is
he's my boss.
Is
officially.
Oh, I've always been your boss.
Yes.
I let him think that.
And Ted was named the political and business editor as well.
And congrats on both of those titles and responsibilities. You are able to take time. Your work, the voluminous Target 12 product that's been out there for years, doesn't come together. It's Tuesday, let's get this done by Thursday.
Right, and we have to be able to shoulder and absorb, what's a good word for it, losses. In other words, for every story that you see on TV or on WPRI.com, there's a whole bunch littered on the ground that didn't reach our bar. So it didn't make air, it didn't make online, and we have to have a structure where that's okay. And we're going to invest a lot of time in it, because if we put something out there that hasn't quite hit that bar, that's damaging.
And you know what else I'd highlight? Steph Machado, who you saw in there, who's joining.
He's a really bright, young, no-nonsense reporter.
Very good reporter.
I'm very bullish on that kid.
And
really
Steph, she's.
I'm old enough to call him a kid.
Yeah, I was going to say.
No, I am.
You
I mean,
are,
she's
absolutely.
a kid to me.
Yeah.
But she's a good, sharp kid. She's
Yeah.
a really sharp reporter.
Yes.
Because she's not trying too hard.
Yeah,
she's just getting the
reporting,
information.
and
out.
she's taking over the City Hall beat at Providence City Hall. And I think you talk about time, Dan. There's time in the sense of putting a long time into investigation. There's also a commitment of time over time to a beat. And we now, for a number of years, have invested a lot of time in City Hall. And that means sometimes having a reporter at a City Hall meeting that is maybe not the flashiest story that night, even as we have to scramble a bit to cover all the other news, because we're going to be there at City Hall month after month.
Well, the elephant in the room in that conversation is that Dan McGowan, who was long here for the last handful, how long Dan was here?
6 years?
6 years,
Yeah,
is left the TV station to go to the Boston Globe for his online work. The great thing about Dan out there, he's such a sportsman. He'll, he'll be on the same beat, and I'm sure he'll, wink and a nod every once in a while the step. He's a loss, but this is a reinvestment gain, it seems to me.
Yeah, not
on the
only did
company's
we
part.
add staff, we hired Eli Sherman as a digital enterprise reporter in the Target 12 team, a new producer, Hannah Dickinson. We have another producer, Darren Soanes, working with us. John Villella, our longtime
Is there a better,
photographer.
more talented TV photographer in the country?
Zero. And I worked in the Boston market, so I feel like I can say that with authority. And we also brought in Jim Hughes, another videographer. So the announcement today is all of that, and the unit is expanding with all those bodies.
So there you go. There is the team. When
and we
put-
also have Walt Buteau and Susan Campbell.
Yeah. We got everybody.
I had to make sure.
And we'd like to thank the Academy.
Exactly.
When we come
exactly.
back, guess what? They're working on a story next. And speaking of Target 12, you got one in the hopper regarding the ACI.
Right. We did a report on the staggering amount of overtime for correctional officers. That was back in February. We found out they were working something called a quad, that is 4 8-hour shifts, 32 hours in a row, and they cannot sleep on the job. I don't know if you could do that. I cannot do that. We wanted to know, how frequent is that? It's very frequent. So what we learned today was between 2016 and 2018, the number of quads, again 32-hour shifts, has more than doubled from 1,900 in 2016 to more than 4,200 32-hour shifts in 2018.
Specific correctional officers kind of specializing in running themselves ragged, or is it across the board?
355 correctional officers out of a staff of about 900, so a third, which is not insignificant, work these quads. You should know they're voluntary, while some prison overtime is forced because they might be short-staffed. Anything above 16 hours is you do it because you want the money. You get double time when you work 16 to 32 hours. So there's a financial incentive, and it's in the union contract. It's capped at 32.
Just briefly, Dan, also going to what we were just talking about, a great example of why the investment in investigative reporting, how it pays extra dividends, which is he did one story a few months ago, and at the end of it, he was like, what is going on with their overtime? Like, you see something else, and it leads to a whole nother story. And so the station giving us those resources can lead to more than just the story you see that night.
Well, we'll have to be tuned. When is that report airing today or tonight?
Yeah, 5 and 6.
All right, we tape in the afternoon, so it already ran. So
It's online.
You go online at WPRI.com. The great thing about the business now is you can always catch up. You can even see this show on FoxProvidence.com.
We're
and
everywhere.
I'm told a lot of you do that. Keep up the good work, guys. Congratulations.
Thanks for having us on, Dan.
Great
Really
stuff.
appreciate it.
Final word when we come back. My director just told me to sit up. I like coming back here. And guess what? I just found out about things you can do on your... So Tim White, I said, why don't you come on the radio? He was sitting there, but he's not standing there. Anyway, and he said, hey Siri, remind me to do Dan's show at 4 o'clock. I've never done that before. Like, my world has just changed. Tim White not only is Target 12, he changed my life. Hey Siri, reminder, I need to go to bed early tonight, 8 o'clock.
Okay, I added I need to go to bed to your reminders for today at 7 p.m.
That is the most awesome thing in the world. See you on the radio tomorrow at 3 on WPRO. Bye.